What is up, everybody? I'm Russell Cassava, president and founder of LittleBricks Charity, where we build big smiles on hospitalized kids in efforts of putting smiles on children that truly deserve it when they need it the most. And this is the LittleBricks Nation podcast, our inaugural podcast. I'm so excited about this. We are planning on using this platform to share the stories of all of these amazing kids and their families and what they go through, and also hopefully spread some joy throughout the community and bring everybody a little bit closer. And today on the inaugural podcast, I literally have goosebumps talking about this. Look at that. I have Rob and Rachel. Rob and Rachel are good friends of mine, and I've met them through TikTok, through their daughter's journey. Their amazing daughter, Tessa, is actually the #1 reason why I have this mohawk and will always have this mohawk. So Rob, Rachel, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And I'm so excited to have you guys here. This is so neat.
Thank you for having us. It's our pleasure to be here and to, like you said, raise awareness and keep Tessa's story alive.
You know, that story really did reach out to so many people. I know that a lot of people have been really impressed with the way that you guys told Tessa's story and shared her journey, and it was so amazing to be a part of that. Can we start from the beginning, maybe?
Sure. So from the very beginning, I had a completely normal pregnancy with Tessa. All my checkups were perfect. She was born on August 5th, 2019, and 7 pounds, 8 ounces. She was perfect. We, took her home, I think 2 days after I gave birth, and we were all a happy family. We have a 3-year-old named Riley. She was a very proud big sister. For the first almost 3 months, it was, bliss, and obviously with a newborn, busy, and a toddler, but we were, a little happy family. Just before Tessa turned 3 months old, she started spitting up a lot.
Every feed.
Yeah. And even in between feeds, it was worrisome. I thought it was just acid reflux or something to do with the anatomy of her esophagus.
Because Riley had issues.
Because Riley had some acid reflux too. We decided to take her immediately to the hospital. We took her to the Winchester Hospital beside our community, and thankfully they sent us to CHIO just to get her looked at by the pediatrician, because they thought too it was something to do with her esophagus. So we were at CHIO, the Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario in Ottawa, and they were going to admit her because she had lost weight. They thought they were going to do an endoscopy and find out what was going on. So we were upset that she had lost weight and that we were being admitted, but we knew that the problem was going to be solved. We were in the emergency room the whole day, and then the doctors did a shift change at 5 p.m. on November 3rd, 2019. At 5 p.m., Dr. Rishi from CHIO comes in and starts doing an ultrasound of Tessa's stomach. She stops what she's doing and goes and orders a stat CT of Tessa's head. And I thought, this is crazy. Why do they want a CT scan of my daughter's brain? I'm a neurosurgery nurse with adults. So I thought, no, this is something I do at work. This isn't something I do for my daughter.
Right.
We got the CT scan. I thought it was a waste of time. But the doctor comes back into the room and says, take a seat. And then she said, your daughter has a brain tumor. And I thought, no, you're joking. Like, this is a different patient. Like, nope. My patients have brain tumors, not my daughter.
Right.
So then we thought, okay, maybe it's going to just be a benign tumor, and she'll have surgery and then she'll be okay. But they admitted her right away to the pediatric ICU at CHIO because of hydrocephalus. And that was what was causing her nausea, vomiting. It's too much fluid built up in the brain because of her tumor. 12-hour brain surgery on November 6th.
all of that happened within like 3 or 4 days. I mean, you went
Yeah.
from 0 to 120 like that. I'm sure that, like you said, you're a nurse in the neuro field. I'm sure no training whatsoever could prepare you for something like that.
Yeah.
We basically just went numb.
Yeah,
Just, it was like every hour there was something new.
just
Yeah.
a shock to your system. I'm sure.
It was just, we were in crisis mode, and we stayed there for quite a while.
We were there for 2 weeks straight.
Yeah, we were in the intensive care unit, PICU, for a few weeks. She, like I said, had a 12-hour brain surgery on November 6th, and Dr. Tu, our incredible neurosurgeon, was able to get about 90% of her tumor.
Which
Wow.
then,
Yeah, it turned out to be probably more than that, but she recovered fantastic. You wouldn't know that she had brain surgery.
That's amazing. I mean, you were so lucky to have a team like that, there for you to take that skill set and do something that amazing. That's,
We're
that
so,
had to have felt good in that moment.
yeah. And to this day, like, our team did everything for Tessa and our family.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I have no doubt that they went above and beyond for us.
and it was more than just the team. It was the whole hospital,
Yeah.
child life, and
Yeah. Social worker,
Everybody.
physiotherapy, everything. It was about 10 days, I'd say 7 to 10 after Tessa's brain surgery, her pathology came back. Dr. Tu had told us that he unfortunately thought it was a malignant tumor because of the edges. They were very fuzzy. So I heard for the first time in my entire the term ATRT. He came to us and told us that Tessa had something called ATRT. Even being an adult neurosurgical nurse, I had never heard that term in my life.
So ATRT, being that you were an adult nurse, it only affects children. Is that correct?
Correct.
well, it can affect you later on, but it's usually just in kids.
So you heard this new term, this new 4-letter word, if you will, after you found out that she had ATRT, did they move aggressively and quickly or continuously, or was it something like, hey, let's kind of wait back and figure this out?
Dr. Johnston, our oncologist, came in maybe 10 minutes later after Dr. Tu, our neurosurgeon, came in with that news. She came right in and introduced us to herself and our case manager, Virginia, and started right then and there. This is what's going to happen. We're going to meet on Monday. We're going to discuss exactly the plans, the chemo, everything.
Wow.
It all.
Well, because every day makes a difference.
I hear so many stories and I get to speak to so many different families and parents, and I hear these almost horror stories of being with doctors that aren't attentive and being, in positions where they're not getting a solid team or good treatment. It's so inspiring to hear that a team was like, hey, let's be on this. And I mean, 10 minutes after, for the next doctor to come in and just start things over. That's amazing. It almost feels like it was like fate for you guys. That's really, really cool.
Rewritten story.
It was.
Like it was like Chia was built around Tess.
Yeah.
That the day I brought Tessa into the hospital, the day I brought her in with random symptoms, they diagnosed her with a brain tumor. That is almost unheard of. It takes months, multiple appointments with their doctor saying she's vomiting, she's tired, that Dr. Rishi gave us the most time with her daughter by diagnosing her that day.
When I first heard your story and heard how quick everything had moved along, I had thought, if they hadn't moved so quick, I may not have gotten a chance to meet your daughter, So your team is so amazing. At some point, we are at LittleBricks Charity, you're gonna have to come up and shake everybody's hands and give everybody high fives and hugs and, well, socially distanced hugs. So you had this team behind you, this amazing team. 10 minutes later, they're updating you and they're setting you up with appointments. You being in the medical field, were these appointments types of treatments and things that you were familiar with already?
The only knowledge about the oncology plan and chemo and everything, knowledge of feeding tubes and feeding pumps and medications. We were in it together. Rob and I were kind of blind as for that.
Do you
But
think as a couple that helped you out throughout all of that, the fact that you were both learning this together?
Yeah,
yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, I definitely can always see in your lives, especially the teamwork. It shows that you guys have been through stuff together, and you really do make a great team. Those things right there, she's going through all of these new procedures, stuff that you guys really aren't familiar with. How was it affecting you guys and her sister, even like Riley?
And community and everything. We had everybody supporting us.
my work, my whole unit started fundraising for our family, and the entire Ottawa hospital was going to buy, Tessa t-shirts and sending us tons of messages of love. And we had a man named Thomas from the New York Carney Foundation. His daughter went through something very similar, and he showed us the ropes. And if it wasn't for him, there would be a lot of things we would have,
I felt lost until I met Thomas.
Yeah.
He came right over
He's
to
a
my
good
parents'
guide.
place and he talked to us for a couple hours, I think, anyways.
Wow.
And there's things like candle lighters and pogo and programs for cancer families.
And he set up the meal train.
Yeah, he set up a meal train for us.
So there was meals dropped off at parents'
Wow.
place. Everything was just, it was smooth running.
And
after chatting with him.
Started the GoFundMe for us.
Yeah.
He really encouraged us to do that, as the finances at the time were tight already. So that's a really good decision.
Yeah.
I definitely would like to come back to that and talk a little bit more about maybe some of the things that he suggested you do. Because I think something that you had that a lot of families, unfortunately, don't have is that support network. They don't have that Tom there to guide them and show them the ropes. It sounds like you guys had like the best scenario of that type of situation,
Like the community, the news got behind us.
Right. Yeah.
The radio stations got behind us. The local, everything. Everybody was behind us. It was amazing.
That's right. We were on the TV news. Yeah.
I think it was Tessa, guys, like straight up. That little girl's soul had so much power in it. Literally, I have never felt the way I feel about Tessa with any child that we've ever helped. The moment I saw her video, I was like, yeah, I felt like there was a string between my heart and hers. And I really truly believe that in her, she had something special that was drawing everybody to you guys and to her.
Yeah. I can't even describe it, but that's exactly how we feel. She was this light in the darkness of this, and she just had such a passion and joy for life and people. And yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
I tell you, some of my favorite videos of you guys posting of Tessa were the ones where you could see her love of people. Every time she was in someone else's arms, she had this like wonderment in her eye and this smile on her face. And I loved sharing those videos. And I think Tessa she had this extra glint. But at the same time, I think all of these tiny warriors have so much power in them to be able to smile through anything like that. I mean, gosh, that's so intense,
It's almost like she knew what the outcome was going to be.
Yeah.
She barely ever cried.
It was great.
And she just sailed through her chemotherapy and stem cell transplants. And every
smile.
every nurse, every physiotherapist, every social worker would fall in love with her. And they would like fight to get to take care of her. And they just knew that she was just so special.
Yeah. I think that's echoed by the number of people that rallied behind you on TikTok as well. You know, you Tessa's army was so deep and so strong and so powerful. I think it was that strength and that calmness at the same time. I don't think I've ever seen that in someone before, honestly. She was so strong and so happy and peaceful, but all at the exact same time. Still, when I see the videos of her, it warms my heart. She went through chemotherapy and stem cells. What was the hope by doing those procedures? What were the goals that the doctors were trying to reach?
What was she? What were we told? She was going to be a normal tax-paying citizen.
Dr. Johnston never talked numbers or statistics with us. ATRT is new, meaning 10 years ago, they barely even knew that ATRT existed. ATRT, ETMR, DIPG were all labeled as, a medulloblastoma or a neuroblastoma. It took Dr. Annie Huang, other amazing oncologists, to get down to the nitty gritty and the genetics and find out, oh, this is not just a random brain tumor, this is ATRT. So the treatments for it are new, right?
Wow.
Like at 5-10 years, the chemo has changed to be specific for each specific kind of tumor.
Wow.
And do not Google ATRT. It's bad. It's terrible, like what you read on the internet, because it's not updated information. And even right now, like, Dr. Johnston, like like the statistics, the prognosis, things are getting better, but slowly. So she said to us, our hope is that she will be a tax-paying citizen. So Rob and I had all the hope in the world.
Yeah.
And I never lost that hope until the end. We got home from Toronto in April, and I thought, okay, she's cured. Everything, the MRIs were looking great. There were no signs that anything had gotten bigger. All the MRIs were great. I thought, okay, like we got to get her eating solids. We got to get her sitting up and crawling, and
it almost went back to normal. Other than the checkups, what were we doing? Every twice a week?
It was just twice a week. We go for checkups at CHIO.
But other than that, we were home hanging out as a family and waiting for COVID to disappear.
Yeah.
And at that point, did you see any sign? Was Tessa any different? Was she acting any different? Did it feel or look like she was progressing in the right direction?
Yeah, she seemed like a normal baby.
You wouldn't, if she's eating tube still, you'd never know that she was sick.
Yeah.
Her right eye was lazy because of what it was. But other than her eye and the feeding tube and, her lack of, big milestones, she was a healthy, great baby. And she did beat the brain cancer. She did. The last MRI of her brain, they didn't see anything. And we had such a great summer because, as I said, we got home from Toronto in April. So May, June, July, and some of August, we thought, things were great. And we have wonderful memories from the time before she developed the tumor in her axilla.
Wow. That you did have this period of kind of normalcy, It's so amazing to hear those words come out, even knowing you know, where we are right now. It's still, it fills me up to hear that she beat that, you know. I mean, that's huge. That's what every parent is looking for. And I'm sure at that point you guys are feeling this just great relief coming off. Your family's back to normal. Everything's kind of moving in the right direction again.
That worry behind us, but
Yeah.
we were happy. We were home.
Yeah.
We basically spent 6 months away from our house.
Wow. So you guys went through this really tough time, and then you saw kind of this, you know, the clouds opened up and those gray clouds went away. Throughout all of this, were you guys already on TikTok at this point?
Well, I had started Tessa's page on Facebook just to start updating friends and family. So it took us a couple of days to tell people. And then we made the Facebook page, and that was pretty much it for when did you start?
So before Rob and I took Tessa to Toronto, we left in early February.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was January of 2020 that Rob and I were like, what's this app called TikTok?
We were in MDU.
Yeah, we saw like these girls dancing, and like we both downloaded it kind of as a joke. And
I did the same thing. I was like, oh great, I got nothing better to do. I might as well, you know, laugh a little.
None of my friends were on TikTok. Nobody I knew, but I thought, you know what, like this looks interesting. Like let's see.
Yeah.
And that was sometime in January, and I would have flipped through, and I thought, I wonder, like I can try to make a video. And like scrolling back 1,000 videos ago, my first video was I think in February of like our dog. And then
it probably has like 12 views and 2 likes, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then I did one of Rob and Riley. It wasn't until we got 2 sick kids that I started the TikTok, like making it of Tessa. I thought, okay, this is a great way to bring awareness to childhood cancer. And this is a great way to update everyone like following us on how Tessa's doing. And Rob would make fun of me in Toronto because I was on it a lot, but it was so therapeutic for me. I would,
right.
I'd see Tessa wake up in the morning and talk to the nurses and be able to update all the followers on how she was doing.
Well, it kept your mind busy.
It did. It kept my mind busy. I could answer people's questions, and we do the fun dance with Tessa. And yeah, it was it was like a hobby, and it was really therapeutic for me.
Well, especially once COVID hit, we basically split our roles.
Yeah.
Because when we were first in Toronto, we kind of all hang out at the hospital. We were all there. It was fun. Riley would play on the floor. Like they'd bring mats in for us. And we could play on the floor with Riley in her room. And we had a lot of fun. But then COVID hit, and we weren't allowed there.
Yeah, only one parent at a time.
Man, that's so rough, man. I mean, I can't imagine someone telling me that I can't come in the room with my daughter. Did you guys understand? Were you understanding about that? How'd you guys feel about that?
I understood, but was really frustrated.
Yeah.
Well, the floor that we were on, like, it was a very careful floor before. It wasn't a floor in the hospital that you could just walk around. Like, you go to your room and you hang out in your room.
Yeah.
So you were kind of, as a cancer family, you feel different already. So a lot of people said once COVID hit, the rest of the world felt what it was like to be a cancer family.
Wow.
You already have to isolate so much. We were told we could bring Tessa shopping with us. This is before COVID. But we had to get a rain shield for her stroller to make sure that, you know, for the barriers in between. So we were kind of already on the path anyways.
Yeah.
Stuck here in the news. So Riley can't come in anymore, and then it was only one parent at a time.
And the things that we really got used to that shut down, the Ronald McDonald room in Sick Kids Hospital. It was a couple floors down. You could go and take a nap. You could do your laundry,
There was
snacks and coffee and stuff. That closed because of COVID. And, Rob and I had to switch. If we were switching with Tessa, we'd have to go into the hospital, sign a form. They'd watch us switch and watch Rob leave. Yeah. And we couldn't even switch upstairs with Tessa. So yeah, that was extremely hard. We were staying at the Ronald McDonald House in Toronto up until COVID hit. So imagine, COVID starts, isolation starts. I'm with Tessa in the hospital all day. Rob is in the Ronald McDonald, our room with Riley, a toddler, all day. But, all the playgrounds have closed. The playrooms, nothing, like we couldn't.
The kitchen's closed. Everything's closed.
And thankfully, when things were just before COVID, Rob's parents were staying with us at the Ronald McDonald House, and they weren't allowed anymore. We ended up renting a home. We rented a house in Toronto with Rob's parents, and we made it through because of them. Yeah. They helped us.
Everybody has been affected by COVID, and for you to say that, now people understand what it feels like for a cancer family. I never thought about that, with my wife having her cancer and going through what she went through. It wasn't quite as much isolation as you guys have had, having to go through that continuously. I can only imagine just the toll that takes on you physically and mentally. How did you guys kind of continue pushing through that?
Even what?
I broke.
Oh, Rob broke down once, but he took a break, went to his parents' house with Riley, and that helped him to just get away for a day.
Yeah.
For me, it sounds so cliche to say this, but honestly, the way that Tessa would look at me and smile kept me going every single day. There was just something in her that radiated peace and hope. Honestly, it was Tessa. It was her strength and her perseverance through everything. Yeah. And of course Riley, and just the hope of being a complete family when this was all done.
That's something that I always loved about you guys, and I always loved being a part of, and that was hope. I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I got to do a FaceTime with you guys the day before Tessa passed away, I cannot tell you how much that meant to me. It literally, it made my year, you guys. It really did. And up until that moment, I really, truly, in my heart, believed that she was going to pull through this. And it was in that moment, talking to you guys and seeing her, that I realized that it was soon, and it still was very abrupt. I was very shocked at how quickly everything escalated.
Yeah.
So let's maybe back up just a little bit real quick, because you guys, she kind of came through. You guys had that really great period of time up until about August, I think you said, and then something did happen. What happened?
So even though her brain cancer was pretty much gone, Tessa had a genetic mutation called a SMARCB1 gene deletion. That's what makes her ATRT. There was a 70% chance that the the genetic mutation was only in her tumor, only in her brain tumor. But unfortunately, she was in the 30% where the gene deletion was in her entire body, in her bloodstream. So SMARCB1 it stops cancer from growing. Tessa was literally missing the gene to stop cancer from growing. So,
and that was throughout her whole body. And without that gene, our body doesn't have a natural defense. So even though she beat ATRT, her body was still defenseless against any other type of cancer, correct?
exactly.
Yeah, we were warned that something was likely going to pop up.
Mhm.
So before something popped up, did you know that she was in this 30th percentile, or was it just something that happened because of something popping up?
No, we knew before we left for Toronto.
Yeah.
We had things with genetics.
Yeah, we were just
We went through
hopeful that it would never, something else would never happen. I really didn't think it would, to be honest. Way back in November, when Tessa was healing from her brain surgery, we noticed a little, what looked like a little lump, like a bump under her axilla. And it was there for a day.
Yeah.
And they did an ultrasound. They said it was nothing. And it literally disappeared a few days later.
But it wasn't just a little bump. Like
No, it was a lump. It was a growth.
And it
Yeah.
showed up in an hour.
Yeah, it showed up within an hour.
And it just
But-
vanished?
Sorry? Yeah,
And
it
it
did.
just vanished? Wow.
It did.
We had, so actually, the guy that I was just at the hunt camp with, he came to the hospital with dinner for us. And we were having dinner, and it showed up while he was there within like an hour.
Mhm.
Like
So-
we were around her, and then it was.
How does that happen? How does a tumor, did they think it was a tumor? Was it just like fluid, or?
They said it was probably a cyst or
Okay.
something benign, and nobody was worried, especially the fact that we thought it had completely disappeared. For December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, we assumed it was completely gone and never gave it another thought. We never felt it picking her up. We never saw it. She had her first full body MRI. So kids with ATRT that have the gene in their whole body, they get a full body MRI every 3 to 6 months. So she had her first full body MRI in July. When we got the results, Dr. Johnston said, everything is stable in her brain. And oh yeah, she still has that lump in her axilla. I'm like,
nothing to worry about.
huh?
But
she's like, yeah, nothing to worry. Like, it's the same size it was. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this disappeared. Like, what are you talking about? It's still there.
Yeah.
So this was internal and still there. So we're like, okay, well, doctor says it's fine, so whatever.
the next day,
Yeah. The next day,
it exploded.
it was double the size. It was like there was 2 lumps. So we were on the phone with the manager and we're like, no. Like, someone needs to look at this now. So this was early August, I believe. And they took her in, they did a biopsy. And I will never forget the look in Dr. Johnston's eyes when we were in the room. And she looks at me and she says, this is bad. This is MRT. This is a malignant rhabdoid tumor, which is the same as ATRT outside of the brain and spinal cord. So because of her genetic deletion.
Yeah, for a normal person, the body would have fought it off.
Yeah,
It would have been gone.
this cyst or whatever it was for you and I would have never been a problem. It was.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that was kind of where I found out about Tessa, was after MRT. I always noticed, her right arm was always just swollen, and I was always so impressed that either you guys managed her pain so well that she just never really showed it, at least, from what we saw, or she managed the pain so well.
It really didn't seem to bother her too much until closer to the end.
Yeah.
It got out of hand in October. She had radiation of her axilla, and that really helped with the swelling. And it didn't get rid of it, but it definitely shrunk it. But when it came back, the swelling, it did come back with a vengeance, and was on, she started on more. And we did everything we could possibly think of to help her when the swelling did start to bother her. We learned how to do therapeutic massage to the arm. We had her fitted for a sleeve.
Like a compression sleeve. Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing those videos, those updates. One thing you guys were always great about was giving updates every time something big happened. And I remember you talking about the massage therapist coming in. Did those massages and techniques, did they seem to help?
Big time. So near the end, I would massage her. So she'd sleep, almost 22 hours a day.
We kept having to up the morphine. So she was sleepy, but Rob would just hold her and massage her arm.
Yeah, if she was awake, she was in my arms on the couch, and I'd massage her for hours. And we just lay together and watch TV and just massage her arm, and it made a big difference.
I'm sure it made a big difference for you too, man. That had to have been very therapeutic for yourself,
He loves him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. And I'm glad that you guys were able to find something that had relief.
Unfortunately, it did get worse, and she finally was upset and crying, and it wasn't her. I remember being on the phone to our case manager, to our palliative care team, to the oncology team, saying there has to be something you can do. Take the arm off. Like, there has to be something.
Yeah, we were told we had months left.
Yeah. So we kind of missed a part. Like, we had found out that this was the malignant rhabdoid tumor. Then they tried to operate, and they couldn't get much of it. She had the radiation. And then they did a follow-up, CT of her chest, her lungs, her pelvis, just to make sure that it wasn't spreading. But it was in was it late September or October that we had the meeting with Dr. Johnston, where we were hopeful that the radiation had shrunk the MRT.
Which it did.
It did shrink the MRT.
I remember that day. Like, I remember very shortly before everything kind of escalated, like posting a victory video, like duetting one of your videos saying, hey, this worked. And I mean, just before that, I believe just before that, we had Tessa's day. Was it before or after that?
Was it after? I can't remember, because the appointment where we were told that the MRT had shrunk, we also found out that it had spread to her lungs. And then that was the first time that Dr. Johnston gave us a timeline. I said to her, what does this mean? Like, what does this mean for our daughter?
Yeah.
And she said that, Tessa, we have months. We have months. So when her arm was so swollen after, I said, no, you're telling me that our daughter only has months left? Well, she's not going to live these months. So we had an appointment in MDU at CHEO, and one of our favorite palliative care doctors, Dr. Davies and Dr. Splinter, was on. He took one look at me and Tessa, just me picking up Tessa. She was crying, and he knew that was not Tessa.
Yeah.
He immediately called the Roger Nielsen house, and he himself walked us. I carried Tess, and he walked the stroller right over to the Roger Nielsen house.
Wow.
Admitted.
Wow. And again, you know, it feels, I mean, I literally have goosebumps. It feels like the universe is just putting the right people in Tessa's path, you know, or maybe Tessa is pulling them towards her, is probably a better analogy. So at this point, guys have had the news broken to you that there's very little time, and you're now at the Roger Nielsen house. And I am so impressed by the Roger Nielsen house. Every time you guys posted a video there, I was like, holy cow. And then the next one I was like, holy cow. Like the things that they were doing and providing for you guys were so impressive.
Yeah, they were excellent.
They went
Excellent.
above and beyond so much.
Yeah.
So much so that you guys, and I still have rice in my carpet, by the way, you guys tied the knot at the Roger Nielsen house. And that was a surprise to you, wasn't it? Like, that's not something you asked for or you decided on doing. They were like, hey, let's get this done.
Yeah.
I remember getting the phone call.
Yeah, the morning that we got married, Dr. Davies, our palliative care doctor, said to me, what is something I can do for you? What do you want? I'm like, I want to get married. But leading up to that, when we first got to the Roger Nielsen house a week earlier, we were under the assumption that Tessa would be coming home with us with her CAD pumps. So she had a CAD pump of ketamine and a CAD pump of fentanyl. Yeah, or no, ketamine and morphine. I was okay with it because I know how to use CAD pumps. So we thought, okay, they'll keep her at Roger Nielsen house a few days to get on a good dose of the drugs so that she's comfortable, and then we'll take her home.
Right.
We were thinking that she had a few more months.
Yeah. Well, and we were told that she still had a few more months.
Yeah.
Dr. Splinter told us, you know, you guys should have a good couple of months.
Yeah.
So we ran with that.
But within that week, the Friday that we were admitted to the Friday that we got married, it went from Tessa has months to Tessa has weeks. And I'm pretty sure the day that we got married, they were thinking days.
Yeah.
It was more like left. And that's why I asked if my daughter's only here for a few days, I want her in our wedding.
Yeah, what a beautiful gesture and such an amazing thing to have. And not only the ceremony and the fact that Tessa got to be a part of that, but the fact that your palliative care doctor's like, what do you want? You know, they're not just looking out for Tessa, they're looking out for you guys as well. I honestly was so happy when I heard that you guys were getting married. I think I might have known before all of TikTok just because of the call we had. It was such a beautiful ceremony. And how quickly did they pull all that together for you?
Like 6 hours.
I mean, in America, you would stand in line for 8 hours just to fill the paperwork out.
We didn't even, they actually, I don't know how they did it, but they got somebody to come down and bring the marriage certificate to us. And check her out, sign the paper, okay, here's your marriage certificate. We didn't even have to leave.
Normally we'd have to go to City Hall to do that.
Yeah, and we had our whole family there.
Yeah, our
other than
whole,
Rachel's sister.
Our whole immediate family. My sister lives in Calgary, so she was on FaceTime.
Yeah, both parents.
Both parents.
My brother
sister,
and his family, sister was there.
Wow. I'm gonna be honest with you. I really feel like it wasn't the Roger Nielsen house. It wasn't you guys. You know, this was Tessa's last, mission. You know, she had this magnetic pull that just made things happen in this universe. And, You know, I feel like this was kind of her gift to you guys right there at the end. And so that's so amazing. So you guys were married with your with your family there, with Tessa there, Riley there, and then so at that point, you know, you guys are still thinking she has months, right? And the doctors, you guys feel like the doctors might have known at that point that, hey, it's escalating quickly. How soon did they pass that information on to you that hey, you only have a few more days, or a little bit of time left?
I think at that point we
At that
we
point,
knew.
we knew it was days. The evening after we got married, they told us it may be hours now. We didn't sleep at night. We had, you know, a really nice suite. So Rob, Riley, and I were there, and Rob's brother, James, sister-in-law, Natasha, and sister Amanda, they stayed with us. We all took turns holding Tessa, you know, telling stories and just being with each other
We were
overnight.
up all night
Wow.
Just- and laughing and just being together and, you know, being a family.
That's so powerful. That is so awesome.
And I took a quick nap, maybe around 5 a.m. And then when I woke up at 6 a.m., Natasha was holding her, and I saw that her breathing had changed. So I took her, I had her, and Rob was right beside me. And she took her last breath at 8:10 a.m. on Saturday, November 21st, 2020. And as soon as she did that, she had the littlest smile on her face. Tessa hadn't been smiling or laughing too much because of the drug, her pain.
Right.
Finally had a little smile on her face, and she was so peaceful.
She was her Tessa, yeah.
She was home, you know.
Our pain,
Yeah.
literally.
Pain free and home. I can't imagine how that feels. So all your family was still there when she passed away.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I as again as tough as that situation is, it's so amazing that, you know, everyone was there to be a part of enjoying the last moments in properly saying goodbye, you know, the right way. That is so powerful. Um, and what really got me, guys, at this point was how much power Tessa still had. Like, I mean, to this day, this little girl is motivating, is inspiring, is helping so many people. I think the true testament to that was her funeral service and how many people showed up. I also have to say how beautiful of a ceremony that was. I want to thank you guys for streaming it and for the church for setting that up, because you guys had built this such a strong community. And I know everyone felt just like me that we were a part of Tessa's life and a part of your family. I don't even know if you know this, you know, for so many people, it provided a little bit of closure for so many people, you know, and it was so gorgeous and so elegant. Did you guys have to take any focus off of yourselves or your family or what was going on to shift into kind of business mode to get these things done so it was so meaningful?
I don't think so. Maybe everything just, we had so many people helping us.
My sister from Calgary was helping me plan it from Calgary, and
Wow.
then flew in the day before the funeral.
Yeah.
She was the pianist, and Yeah, she helped us and our family and Pastor Mark. Planning it helped me get through those first days. I had a purpose, and my purpose was to make Tessa proud. And I just wanted this perfect memorial. I wanted a perfect funeral, and I wanted to speak for her. And the only way people say like, "Oh, I can't," you were able to talk. Well, I had to, and I had to do it for Tessa.
Yeah.
It kept, the planning really did help me get through those first days.
I feel like I kind of see a reoccurring theme, and I'm wondering if this is just a really good tip for other people to try. Is early on you had TikTok to kind of keep you busy and keep you motivated and keep you moving. During this time, you had the planning of the funeral. You had things to keep your mind going. Do you feel like that is the case? Like in those extreme moments, just going through the motions and keeping yourself busy, that it did help.
Yeah, because what was harder was when everything started calming down, right? Like family stayed with us for a week after the funeral, but then things started getting back to normal life for other people. And COVID, you know, we weren't able to have like people over, and we had a lockdown here, and it was extremely, extremely difficult.
I can't imagine. Like you said, everyone else's life went back to normal, and you guys are back in the house that your family has lived in and that Tessa's been in. I'm sure everywhere you look to this day, you've got reminders of Tessa everywhere, which is obviously a good thing. But I'm sure at that time, were those reminders, were they helpful? How did that make you feel?
So all the flowers that were at the funeral came home with us. Actually, the funeral home delivered them for us.
You guys had a lot of flowers too.
It was amazing. And that big balloon arrangement too, that came here too. Anyways, so we took everything from the funeral and we set it up in our kitchen. So our kitchen turned into basically a memorial for Tessa.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's where everything went. So yeah, it was in our face. But I don't think it made it hard. Not for me, anyways. I enjoyed it. I like, seeing everything. And even right now, looking in behind the camera, it's all Tess.
Mm-hmm.
You guys built this amazing community, and they love you guys. They love Tessa. I know for a while there, you guys were being bombarded with gifts and items and all kinds of handmade things and store-bought things and just stuff to kind of commemorate how epic Tessa was. Have you guys been able to go through all that?
It's just recently stopped.
Yeah, we stopped getting stuff, but I can't go into her room.
Yeah, we can't go into her.
Like I just don't have it in me to go in there.
Yeah.
So there's stuff that we got that's in there that we haven't seen, but we'll get to it.
I'd say I have gone through the majority of the beautiful gifts that amazing people sent us. I read every note, every card, every ornament, every gift. I've gone through it, but we have definitely used her nursery right now to store a lot of things. Yeah, we're not really ready to go through her like clothes, and I really try to not go in her room too much. But thinking back what you had asked earlier, the first month after Tessa passed, I completely lost my purpose. And I remember like the day after looking for where I kept her medications and being like, oh, oh, right. I don't have to give medications and her feeding tube. And I didn't know what to do with myself. And, a few days later, I saw one of her syringes while I was doing dishes. And it's like this panic comes over you, this like doom. I can't
Yeah.
even just, but they've, I've gotten them less lately. A few months after she passed, it would just hit me like a ton of bricks, and I would panic, and I felt like it was a heart attack.
Did it feel like you were like living that moment over and over again? Was it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was her last breath, taking her last breath. It was
Yeah.
just there, and I felt completely helpless. And I don't think I would still be here if it wasn't for Riley and Rob, because I know that I had to take care of them.
Yeah.
Rob has taken such good care of Riley and me. I owe it all to him for getting me through. And only recently, I'd say only, this last week, have I actually started having okay days. Yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that. I really, truly am, Rachel. It really does show that, you guys going through this together and learning through this together and going through everything, how much stronger it's made the two of you and how much stronger it's made the three of you, actually.
She
I love
taught
you guys. I really do.
you. Taught us a lot about life and a lot of what's important. And I told Rob the day that we were told Tessa had a brain tumor. I told Rob that it was not going to tear us. I said we were going to stay together, and it was going to make us stronger.
Yeah.
And we have literally spent every single day together since November 3rd, 2019. So,
but who's counting, right?
yeah.
So I met you guys through TikTok. The whole reason I have my mohawk is because Tessa had this amazing faux hawk. I fell in love. I mean, really, the very first video I saw of Tessa, she had the faux hawk, and everyone at that time was shaving their head on TikTok for Jocelyn. Jocelyn had posted that video. They were all duetting that. I did duet that video and I did shave the sides, but I kept the middle because of Tessa's faux hawk. And out of that, Tessa's army was already so strong, and you had the faux hawks for Tessa, hashtag and things. And at one point, our community came together and we had a day for Tessa. And I have to say that it was the most powerful thing I've ever been a part of. It was so freaking insane. I mean, my news feed was filled with Tessa. I you couldn't go 2 videos. It was almost like you were getting bombarded by ads, and they were all about Tessa.
Absolutely incredible. We were, I don't even have words. Like, it was just absolutely incredible.
Yeah,
And
it was so much fun too.
It was amazing. I feel like we didn't thank people enough. It was just
we couldn't keep up. It was
so. I tried to comment on every single video, but I just couldn't keep up.
Every once in a while, I still come across a Tessa Day video that I haven't seen. Like, I'll go in and I'll find a new family or a new child, like somebody will mention them, and I'll go through their feed and there's a Tessa video.
By the tow truck guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the tow truck guys are still doing Tessa videos.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah.
That's too cool. So if you had to pick one favorite video from one creator for Tessa Day, which one would you pick?
Probably not any of those little brick ones, eh?
They all were so heartfelt. They were all really great. And some of them, I mean, really were like above and beyond. I was like, holy cow. That just really shows the power of Tessa, how she literally commanded an army. Like you said, you finally are having some great days, and we are um, a few months past everything. Um, I still see on your TikTok account you're posting amazing videos of Tessa when she was here, and posting of your family and things. Do you see yourself going back and doing lives again?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm kind of at a crossroads of where to take it. I think my heart is continuing to raise awareness for childhood cancer, because I mean, we're different people now.
Yeah.
Like I'm not the same person I was before.
Yeah.
And a huge desire. We want to help families going through the same thing. And no child should have to go through this, but also no parent should have to go through this. And if we could help if there's any way that we can help people
We'll do it.
like this, I feel it's our calling. And I would love to somehow, use TikTok for that.
But we've got such an energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
got to not sure where or how.
Yeah. I'm so grateful for the people who have followed Tessa's journey, and who tell us how she's affected them.
Yeah.
I think that is what is keeping me going, because I know that Tessa had an impact on so many people's lives, and she had such a purpose for being here. And even though she was only here for 15 and a half months, I truly believe that she fulfilled her purpose. And that's how I can survive this, because I know that she, affected so many people. And we get messages from people who tell us that Tessa saved their lives. Tessa has made them a better father, a better mother. And that's incredible. And I want to help people the way that Tessa has helped people.
Yeah, I am right there with you, Rachel. I hope one day that I can reach out to as many families as Tessa did. Even with my wife going through what she went through, seeing what Tessa went through, and the limited amount of time you had with Tessa, and especially the fact that she started her journey happy and healthy. It reminded me that my daughter is happy and healthy now, and at any point that could change. And let's make the most of this happy and healthy time. Let's really truly enjoy this happy and healthy time. So you had Tom, who kind of took you along the ropes, and he kind of gave you some tidbits that really did help out. I know you said starting a GoFundMe was one of helping to kind of get funding to help with the financial side of things. Were there any other things that he had mentioned that had helped you along that path, or speed through that path, or escalate things?
Foundations.
Yes.
Talk to the family. Talk to your case workers at the hospital. Get them
Awesome.
talking for you, because they help out with parking, with gas cards, even like gift certificates to like McDonald's. It's something you don't normally think of, but when you need a coffee at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can't find change, well, you got a gift card for you. Like stuff you don't even think of. But what else?
Yeah.
What really helped us, I feel, was, like you say,
Yeah, healthy.
bags of vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
Real.
Oh, yeah.
Trays. That's because you're go, and you don't want to feel like you're always heavy after all healthy food is yeah, it's key.
And a lot of people will drop off goodies, cookies and brownies, and yeah, it's great until you eat them for 3 weeks.
Yeah. And then you don't want to see another one. You want another veggie tray.
Get the veggie tray, it's gone in an hour.
So did you guys eat a lot of candy bars when you were in the hospital?
Oh,
Not-
chocolate bars?
Yeah, we had chocolate bars. Yeah, not candy bars.
Oh, come on now. Chocolate bars, you silly Canadians and your silly terms.
There's some
Yeah.
chocolate.
Yeah. Oh, and he set up the meal train for us too, which was great.
Is that like was that through one of the foundations or was that through churches? How did that work? Because I'm sure that's not like a nationwide, like somebody can go to any hospital and say, hey, set me up for a food train. But what kind of organization was that?
The Miracle Marnie Foundation, and they run alongside with a lot of churches. So it was set up through churches. So I think, was it done on his website?
Yeah.
I can't remember what website it was on. We weren't really a part of it.
Yeah.
We just got it through family. Anyway, so people could sign up for days, like whichever day they would sign up, and they'd say the meal that they're going to bring. And then it was all done at mom and dad's place. So there was a cooler put outside, and the people would just drop the food off in the cooler. And that would keep mom and dad not having to worry about food so
Because
much.
they had Riley.
Because they had Riley. And then we would get the food at the hospital.
Leftovers and stuff.
So with social media, are there any tips or tricks that you have or that you could share that really helped you push Tessa's story out to more people?
In the beginning, I never ever thought that her story would go viral and like explode like it did. But if when I look back, I think some of the things are, being open and honest, and answering people's questions. At some point in Toronto, they did the comment answer video, the thing where you can answer a comment with a video.
Yeah.
And that was great. I think doing that is, people love to be, it's great to
recognize.
Recognize, respond to people. Just to be, willing to kind of open up and I mean, I really can't take credit. I mean, Tessa just shone, it was all her. It wasn't even work for me. It was just like, look at, like, you did everything.
One of the things that really drew me to you guys, after I already fell in love with Tessa, sorry, you guys were much later in your lives, you guys, there really wasn't an aspect of life that you weren't willing to talk about. And also you talked about them intelligently. Rachel, you have a medical background. Did that help you explain things a little easier, do you think, to people, or a little bit better?
Absolutely. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that, I've been a nurse for 16 years and all in neurosurgery. And I don't know how I would have gotten through this without that. And, I in my heart, I believe that God did choose us, for Tessa.
Yeah. Tessa definitely fell into the right hands. That's for sure.
We hope we gave, we really tried to give her the best life possible. And Rob and I are grateful that we don't have any regrets, right? We did everything that we possibly could. Reached out to, every hospital, like Dr. Johnston reached out to, Dr. Eddie Huang, and we had great care, and we really, really do, know in our hearts that we did try to give her the best life possible.
Yeah, I look back, there's not a single regret. Not one.
I love it. For families that are going through this that don't have medical backgrounds, do you think that Googling things and looking things up on your own is a good idea to help understand things better?
So Thomas told us right away, don't Google it. Don't look things up. And I took that and I followed that. And I still will not look it up. I took what my doctors told me and I went with that.
Yeah.
Whereas you went the other way.
Well, I mean, this is about, the diagnosis and prognosis. But for things like taking care of, a feeding tube or that, I mean, that kind of stuff, I'm sure that it would be okay to Google or YouTube, but I'm trying. It's such a good question because I'm trying to think. I don't know what I would have done if I was a nurse, but
Well,
family and going to family and friends and really using the nurses.
Questions.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
Write stuff down before you go.
that's right. Write all your questions down, right, on paper before you go for minutes, and really use the incredible nurses and doctors. Yeah, because obviously we're not, not every family is a nurse as a nurse. So
Yeah, I love that tip. I can only imagine going into those appointments how emotional they get. And when emotions flow like that, it can be very hard to stay on track and keep your mind on, the task at hand. So to write things down like that before you go in, that's a brilliant idea. It really is.
And even when you're in the meeting, so our first meeting that we had with the oncologist, Rachel's good friend actually came with us for the meeting. And she sat there and took notes the whole time.
Wow.
There's so much stuff that I did not hear that she had told us afterwards.
Yeah.
Record it.
Yeah,
Everybody
record
has a
it.
phone
I
nowadays.
was just about to say, is there, like, legally, can you do that? Can you say, hey doc, do you mind if I record this?
Yeah, just let them know that you're going to do it, but I'm sure they get it all the time.
Yeah, I think that's a really great idea. And you can play it back later and break things down and go from there. Yeah.
Comparing, like, I would hear something different than Rachel here.
Yeah, it's true.
So to be able to compare after is a big thing, especially if you're trying to win an argument.
Yeah.
Did that ever cause conflict between you guys, seeing or hearing two different things?
No.
No.
So we basically decided Rachel was taking on the test. I was always there. I was every appointment that pretty well every appointment until COVID hit, and even afterwards. But yeah, she took on the nursing role with Tessa, and I took on the Riley role. So if she thought something different than me, she trumped me, basically.
So did you guys actually have a conversation in the beginning saying, hey, there's a lot going on. Let's assign roles.
I think it just happened.
It happened more so in Toronto when we had Riley there, and then and then it just automatically, I stayed with Riley and she stayed with Tess, and it made it easier too because then it was one person there getting all the information, and it wasn't two stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old saying, putting two chefs in the kitchen,
And I would give the meds, you deal with the feeding tube and the feeding pump and that kind of stuff. So it just kind of made sense. It wasn't two people giving meds like, oh, did you give this? So it just worked out well that way.
Yeah, I could see that being a very great conversation for any family to have earlier on, saying, hey, there are a lot of things that are going to happen. What if I take over this and you take over that? And we just trust each other, that we both have our daughter or our son's best interest in mind,
Oh, there were still days that we together, but
oh yeah, like of course, just because I'm a nurse, I don't know everything, and I'm obviously open to his ideas and suggestions. And I'm sure there's plenty of times where you did things differently and it worked out better, like a dressing change or and so yeah.
Real quick before we end, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you guys would like to talk about?
We just want to thank again all of the amazing people that have supported us on this journey. There's been so many followers of Tessa's story that have, whether it be sending us prayers, adding to the GoFundMe, sending something from the Amazon wish list. I have never in my life imagined that we would get so much support from, such an amazing community. I just didn't have the time to thank every individual person, who sent us something or prayed. And
Send something.
I just wish if I could, I would thank every individual person that has, even commented on our videos.
Well, I have a surprise, guys. I'm going to open up the waiting room. I've got everyone here. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, I can't imagine how much time you would even need to thank everyone personally. Riley would have to finish the list. You guys would be old and gray and senile. Where can people find Tessa's story being told still?
I still love to post memories of Tessa on TikTok at Fighting for Baby Tessa. I still post on Instagram memories of her and how we're doing Fighting for Baby Tessa, and on my Facebook.
That's wonderful.
That's the updates page.
I not a whole lot. We still have the Tessa update page. I put a few memories, but I think I'm not sure if we're gonna use that as.
We don't know where we're going with it, so we
Yeah.
might use that page for whatever it is.
Yeah.
We don't go, but yeah, that'll likely come from that page. For that page
Very
return.
cool.
Whether it's fundraising, charities, and people like yourself, just raising money to help fundraisers and whatever.
Right, because I don't want her. I don't. My fear is people forgetting about her, and I want to. I don't want to ever. What's the word? Like take her life for granted, and I want to continue to raise awareness for the childhood cancer. I mean, we need a cure. Like this, it's crazy. Like we need a cure. I want to continue, telling Tessa's story. I want to continue to raise awareness for childhood cancer and be available for families that have questions and that need support. Rob and I would love down the road to make a career out of, helping people somehow. Obviously, that's not happening right now, but, we're open to whatever the future holds. And I want people to always remember Tessa.
I feel like that's our calling almost.
Mm-hmm.
So just, even if it's not a career, just to do it, just to help families out, like the little tips or a shoulder to cry on kind of thing, even if it's just over a phone call or text messages or just somebody to be there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for being on the very first LittleBricks Nation podcast. It really means a lot to me for so many reasons, and you guys know all of those reasons. And to everyone listening out there, you can check out more of Rob and Rachel and Riley and see those amazing memorial videos of Tessa. Definitely check out littlebrickscharity.org. If you have any questions, you can contact us through there. I really, really do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
for having us.
Thank you.
All right. Well, you guys have an epic evening. I believe in you.